Almost every mistake people make in the Maldives is made before they ever get on the plane. That's the thing that makes this destination different from anywhere else. In most places, you arrive, you find your footing, and you correct course as you go. A bad restaurant tonight is a better one tomorrow. A neighborhood that doesn't suit you is a taxi ride away from one that does. The Maldives gives you no such second chances because of one structural fact that defines the entire country and that most first-time visitors completely fail to grasp. One island, one resort. When you book a hotel in the Maldives, you are not choosing where you'll sleep. You're choosing the totality of your experience for the entire trip. The beach, the sea, the reef, the food, every restaurant available to you. The price of everything you'll consume, and the people you'll be surrounded by, with no ability to leave, compare, or change your mind once you're there. There is no walking into town. There is no restaurant around the corner. The island is the whole world for a week, often 40 minutes by seaplane from anything else, and you committed to it before you boarded the flight. Get that choice right, and the Maldives is paradise. Get it wrong, and you're trapped in someone else's idea of paradise, paying $18 for a beer, with no exit. So the real subject here isn't what to do in the Maldives. It's how not to make the decision wrong before you go. The first mistake is choosing an island based on the photographs, because in the Maldives the photographs are nearly identical and the experiences are not. Every resort markets the same images: overwater villa, turquoise lagoon, white sand, palm tree. They look interchangeable, and they are absolutely not. The differences that matter don't photograph. Whether the island has a genuine house reef you can snorkel directly from the beach, or whether you have to take a boat to see anything. Whether it's a small, intimate island you can walk around in 15 minutes, or a large resort with hundreds of villas. Whether it's geared toward honeymooners who want silence, or families who want a kids' club, or divers who want serious access to the channels. An island perfect for one of these is actively wrong for another, and none of that is visible in the marketing photo of the overwater villa, which is the same overwater villa everywhere. The single most important question, and the one most overlooked, is the house reef. The Maldives is one of the great marine environments on Earth, and the whole point for many people is the snorkeling and diving. But a significant number of resorts sit on islands with little or no living reef accessible from shore, which means the underwater experience you imagined requires a paid boat excursion every time. Other islands have a vibrant reef wall a few meters off the beach, where you can be among reef sharks and turtles and rays before breakfast at no extra cost. These two islands cost roughly the same and look identical online. The difference between them is the difference between the trip you pictured and an expensive disappointment. The second mistake is not understanding the transfer, which sounds like a logistical footnote and is actually a major cost and experience factor. Resorts in the Maldives are reached in one of three ways, and how you reach yours is determined by where it is, which means it's another thing locked in by your booking. Some islands are a short speedboat ride from the main airport in Malé. Others require a domestic flight plus a speedboat. And many of the iconic ones require a seaplane, which is genuinely spectacular, one of the most beautiful transfers in travel and also expensive, weather-dependent, and operating only in daylight, which can mean an overnight in Malé if your international flight lands late. Seaplane transfers can add several $100s per person to a trip, and people routinely fail to factor this into the budget, treating the resort's nightly rate as the cost when the transfer can add a meaningful percentage on top. The distance that creates the dreamy isolation is the same distance you pay for, twice, getting in and out. The third mistake is the big one, the one that splits the Maldives into two completely different countries that most tourists don't know both exist. There are two Maldives. There's the one everyone pictures, the private island luxury resorts, hundreds of dollars to thousands per night, all-inclusive bubbles of curated perfection. And then there's the one almost nobody outside the region knows about, the local islands, the inhabited islands where actual Maldivians live, where since 2009 ghost houses have been legal and have quietly created an entirely parallel version of the country. The same ocean, the same reefs, the same impossible water, at roughly a tenth of the price. This changes everything about who can go to the Maldives and how. On a local island like Mafushi, the Luzdu, or Dagura, you stay in a guest house for a fraction of resort prices, eat at local cafes where a meal costs a few dollars instead of a few hundred, and access the same world-class diving and snorkeling, the same whale sharks, the same manta rays, the same reefs, through local operators. You can take a boat to a sandbank in the middle of the ocean for the day. You can dive the same sites the luxury resorts dive. The water doesn't know which island you slept on. There are real trade-offs, and pretending otherwise would be the opposite mistake. Local islands are inhabited Muslim communities, which means local norms apply. Alcohol is generally not available except on designated tourist beaches or on boats, and modest dress is expected away from those beaches. You won't have the private overwater villa or the silent, empty beach. But for a very large number of travelers who assume the Maldives is simply out of reach financially, the local islands are a revelation. Proof that the destination they'd written off as a once-in-a-lifetime splurge is accessible on an ordinary budget if you're willing to trade the bubble for something closer to the actual country. The fourth mistake is timing, and in the Maldives, timing has consequences that go beyond comfort. The Maldives has two seasons: the dry season, roughly November to April, and the wet season, roughly May to October. The dry season is the postcard: calm seas, clear skies, the best underwater visibility, and correspondingly the highest prices and the biggest crowds, peaking sharply around Christmas and New Year when rates can double or triple. The wet season brings more rain and rougher seas, but the rain often comes in short bursts rather than all-day downpours. Prices drop substantially, and, crucially for anyone whose priority is marine life, the wet season is when plankton blooms draw whale sharks and manta rays in greater numbers to certain atolls. The worst season is genuinely better for some of the most extraordinary experiences the Maldives offers, and far cheaper. The mistake is assuming dry season is simply correct and wet season is simply to be avoided, when the right answer depends entirely on what you're there for and what you're willing to pay. The last mistake is more philosophical, and it's specific to the kind of trip the Maldives is. The Maldives sells total isolation as the dream, and for a few days it genuinely is. But people consistently underestimate how isolation actually feels over a full week on a small island, with the same handful of restaurants, the same beach, and no possibility of going anywhere. For a honeymoon, a few days of total disconnection is perfect. For a longer stay, or for travelers who like variety and exploration, the very thing the Maldives is famous for can become the thing they struggle with, a kind of beautiful monotony, paid for at a premium. The travelers who do best are the ones who match the trip structure to their own temperament, pairing a few days of resort isolation with a few days on a local island for contrast, or building in diving and excursions to give the days shape, or simply choosing a shorter stay and accepting that the Maldives is a perfect 3 or 4 days rather than a default week. Almost none of this is fixable once you arrive. That's the whole point. The Maldives doesn't let you wander into the right experience the way other places do. There's no street to turn down, no neighborhood to discover, no second restaurant to try. The island you chose is the trip you get, which means the Maldives rewards research more than almost any destination on Earth and punishes the casual booking more harshly, because the most consequential decision you'll make happens at a desk months before you feel the sand. Choose the island as if it's the entire trip, because it is. Thanks for watching. If you found this useful, smash that like button and subscribe to When to Travel. We're all about helping you make smarter travel decisions. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. And hey, if you think your friends need this, share it. Comment below with your next destination or your biggest travel question. I'm reading all of them. Let's go.